Rainier Avenue Radio. Rainier Avenue Radio.
Generational wealth. Generational wealth. Generational wealth. What is generational wealth? We asked our communities, and this is what they had to say.
Generational wealth is incredibly difficult to accrue. My mom likes to joke that we come from a long line of people who are bad at money. She always talks about wanting to buy a house so that she has something to leave her kids. I got really sick when I was a kid, and all our money went towards that. I had to leave college because I couldn't afford my next year's tuition, medical bills, and life. It's all so difficult. And then you think about wanting to leave something behind for your kids. Well, how can you leave something behind for your kids when every day you're trying to make sure that your kids have joy and happiness and health and fulfillment today? Every day I'm really concerned about if I'll be able to keep living and making art in this city for myself.
This campaign to create awareness to generational wealth is brought to you by the Department of Neighborhood's Generational Wealth Initiative, the Washington Housing Finance Commission, and Rainier Avenue Radio World.
Women are not an homogenous group.
We face discrimination differently depending on factors such as ethnicity, age, socioeconomic status, and more.
Rainier Avenue Radio is proud to amplify women's voices.
They are the experts of their own lives, initiating conversations within their community about challenges they face, the solutions they're working on, and the opportunities they see.
Please join us this Sunday from 2 to 5 for Women's Voices on Air. We know our challenges. We are the experts of our lives.
We are master multitaskers, prioritizing our family, friends, and our faith above our own needs.
Our needs and voices are too often overlooked.
Please join us this Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. for Women's Voices on Air.
We tell our stories in our own way.
Celebrate Black History Month at the Call to Conscience Black History Month Museum, formerly Columbia City Theater, 4916 Rainier Avenue South. Call to Conscience Black History Month Museum features exhibits and installations. It's a guided tour. Installations include the Seattle Black Panther Party, the Black Heritage Society of Washington, the Rainier Cinema Black Movie Jimi Hendrix Family Installation, the Seattle Griot Project, BlackPass.org, the Hartsfield Family Slave, the Seattle Black Firefighter, an exhibit of the Seattle Black Elected Officials, Tacoma's Buffalo Soldiers Museum, Keith Flywright Williams Photography Collection, the Royal Esquires, a Negro League baseball display featuring the Seattle Steelheads. Of course, there will be your community keepsake and memorabilia. Tuesdays through Sundays from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. There will be no other location where you can celebrate the achievements and the achievers of the Pacific Northwest and Seattle while recognizing the Black excellence that shines today. For more information, visit RainierAvenueRadio.world or call 206-290-9685.
Would you like to see when your favorite Rainier Avenue Radio show comes on? Check out our show schedule, updated weekly at RainierAvenueRadio.world.
It's 7 o'clock on the dot, and this is LidLine Sports. Let's go. We are live here in Columbia City, beautiful downtown south end of Seattle, Washington. This is LidLine Sports. I'm your host, Pep. And we have O here today. Woo, I'm happy about that. Otis Stevenson, what's up, my brother?
What's good, Pep? How you doing?
I'm good. It's so good to see you, man. It seems like, man, I don't think we've been together in like 6 months.
Definitely a few weeks for sure.
I know. Have we done a show?
Yes, we did one.
Okay.
Beginning of January, we did one.
Okay. I think my mic cut off.
Yeah, we did one, and then I was so blessed to get on the mic with Michael Carter, and then Cleveland. At Cleveland High School, we were finishing out our regular season, went into the playoffs, and unfortunately, we couldn't get it done in the first round of the Metro playoffs, so our season got cut off shortly. But it was a pretty decent season, especially from last year. Made a pretty big turn in my opinion. So. I'm back now. Full time now, baby.
Cool.
I'm full time now.
Cool. Shout out to your brother, coach of the Cleveland Eagles.
We definitely got to get him in here too. He said he's ready to go.
Good.
So, okay, we can maybe work that next Monday.
Good. Glad to hear that.
Okay.
So shout out to him, and also congratulations to him as he made the co-coach of the year in the sound division of
Yes,
Metro.
sir.
So that's pretty awesome
Yes, sir.
for the mighty Cleveland Eagles. So I'm happy to hear that. And I also want to give a shout out to Michael Carter for stepping in when you're out, when I'm out. He's come in and he has put it down. And so, look, there's going to be more of that. So don't just think that that's the end. No, that's just, that's just how we do it. We got to have backup. And so he's that guy. And, of course, at times we will be a trio.
Yes,
so that will be great. So, look, let's just get into it, bro.
What you talking about?
The Super Bowl,
that game?
the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't know if you heard the show last week, but I said that I was rooting for the Eagles. Even though in the back of my head, I was thinking that the Chiefs might win. But I stuck with the Eagles, and look, it was a good competitive game. There wasn't a blowout. It had a few miscues and stuff like that. And so, what did you think?
I think we talked about this a couple of weeks before these two were going to play. That I think I was telling Michael Carter. My heart was with the Philadelphia Eagles. I would love to see them win, but my brain was just telling me, "Don't you dare go against Pat Mahomes."
That's why I didn't bet any money.
Yeah. So, but the game was a good game, and that's all you can ever ask for on a championship stage. It came down to the last 2 minutes of the game. Man, Jalen Hurts on a big stage, man. He made some really good passes. He was unstoppable on the ground.
Just one miscue, it really cost them too, I think.
The fumble. You're talking
yes.
That one hurt, and it was a big momentum swing in the game.
Right.
But also shout out to the Chiefs and Eric Bieniemy for whatever halftime adjustments he made with that offense and coming down and scoring 2 possessions in a row. And then, I was surprised that nobody's defensive line really stood out, but then I'm over here hearing rumors that the field was trash, I guess.
I don't know if you heard about you can
that.
see right there.
Yeah.
On the celebration there.
So I'm not surprised that the game was as high scoring as it was. It's the two teams that can put up points. I guess I was just a tad bit surprised, that I thought there would be some defense on display, but I don't think it was bad defense. I said just nobody could get no pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah, and that is probably the most surprising thing in the entire game is the fact that the Philadelphia Eagles led the NFL in sacks with 70. And who was number 2? Well, you're looking at them, the Kansas City Chiefs, and they were at 55. And the fact that Philadelphia got 0 sacks was key. Kansas City's offensive line played phenomenal.
Yep.
I mean, to hold the Eagles to no sacks, and that's been their thing all season long, the front 7, and Kansas City's own front 7 put pressure on Jalen Hurts. And, like I said, we mentioned earlier, Jalen Hurts did have one miscue, and it was not caused by anything that Kansas City did. He just lost the ball somehow when he was being pressured. And so, well, I guess you can say that Kansas City did kind of cause that, under pressure, but, no one swiped the ball or anything. He just lost it. And then, of course, KC was in the right place at the right time and went in for the touchdown. But still, nonetheless, Philadelphia was in control in the first half. They were up 24-14 at halftime. So things were looking pretty good. And so, the thing about it, here's what's another weird thing. Philly did all that, and they didn't really have a run game going. Sanders didn't get going. Gainwell was okay, but, I think Sanders only had 16 yards total. And so that was kind of surprising that they actually didn't even attempt to establish a run game. It looked like it seemed like the short passing game was key, and then try to hit him with the bomb to Devontae Smith or AJ Brown, intermittently. And of course, look, if Philly would have won, you could argue that Dallas Goedert would have been the MVP, the tight end for the Philadelphia Eagles. What do you think?
Man, it could have gone. It could have gone a lot of different ways. It could have went. AJ Brown could have got it. Jalen Hurts was well deserving of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I was just really impressed with Jalen Hurts and how he played out there. Besides that one fumble, on this big stage.
And you know what I liked, and I said this when I was with people at the game. I said, look, if he redeems himself by leading them down to a score, he'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
And not only did he do that, but he's the one that scored himself.
Yep.
So, that was pretty good on his part, showing that, look, I made a mistake, but I'm coming back. And so, Philly still has a good nucleus, so they probably won't go anywhere for a while. So they should not hang their heads down, so.
Yeah. Jason Kelce, he's a free agent, right?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know who else is a free agent,
but
because I know you said they're bringing back most of their team.
Yeah, Kelce, the center for the Philadelphia Eagles, the older brother of Travis, I think by 2 years, if I'm not mistaken. Of course, they had his mom there prominently throughout the festivities of the Super Bowl. There's nothing wrong with that. It's pretty cool.
Not at all.
Yeah, so it's good. Philly, it's kind of weird. It's funny how I've noticed in some of these Super Bowls that teams that do whatever they do to get there, like throughout the whole season, sometimes like when they get into the game, it's either abandoned or it's something that just changes. Like,
do you think that's over coaching, over planning?
Man, I that's what I'm wondering. I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to blame Sirianni if he made some some changes, maybe overthinking, maybe outthinking himself.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's a good point. It could be that, but stick. You should stick with what you know. What's got you there.
Yeah.
Abandoning the running game, and I had heard Dallas Goedert say, "Hey, look, I'm just as good as Travis Kelce. I'm just as good as George Kittle." And look, obviously, he had something to prove because he was getting some touches, and so I liked what he was doing. I thought Devontae Smith was good, and then we noticed how skinny that guy is. Oh my gosh. That brother needs to hit the weight room, get them biceps up. I mean, he's cut and everything, but man, he's thin.
Yeah, he is.
And he got blasted, right away. I noticed. Right away, I noticed that Kansas City came to hit. The first few plays of the game, they were blasted. And they were knocking each other out. It seems like.
So what do you? I have a question. What do you think of Jalen Hurts passing the ball 38 times?
I felt that he thought that might be what he needed to do to beat Kansas City, blow for blow, because if you're playing Kansas City, you can't just go for field goals, right? And you can't have just a stagnant offense. So they tried to be Kansas City like.
Yep.
It seemed, and that's not your game. So that might have been a mistake, but it's not like they, fell behind.
No,
because they took the lead. Kansas City caught back up. They took the lead again, at 14-7, and they were driving, right? Yep. When Hurts lost the ball, and then Kansas City got it and fumble recovery for the touchdown to tie it up. But again, Philadelphia scored twice more. They scored on a touchdown, 21-14, and then they kicked the field goal to make it 24-14. So, you really can't use excuses of like that when you have a 10-point lead in the first half and you're playing pretty well.
Yep.
Now, in the second half, was pretty much a different story. Kansas City scored on every possession of the second half. They scored 3 touchdowns and a field goal, of course, to win the game. And that was, adjustments, they said, by Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy.
Mm-hmm.
And let's talk about Eric Bieniemy real quick. I love the guy. I love his system.
Mm-hmm.
It's unfortunate that he hasn't been able to become a head coach. And for a while, I was really upset about that. But now that I look at things in a different perspective, sometimes you're just better off being who you are and what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And he is a great offensive coordinator. And that's nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, you're going to walk down the street and say, oh, there's Eric Bieniemy. Well, he's just an OC. Oh, yeah, forget him. No, that's pretty amazing. Mm-hmm. Now, I get the fact that if you want more money, mm-hmm. you're going to want to be a head coach. But the problem I have and I see is if he becomes a head coach somewhere, it's not going to be on a team that's any good. Okay. It's going to be a downtrodden team. And it's well known that black head coaches do not get a whole lot of time to pick it up. He's not going to get 3 or 4 years to get it right.
Nope.
He's going to get 1, maybe 2 seasons. And if they don't even look like they're improving a little bit, he's out of there. And I would hate for that to happen to him because he deserves better than that. But on the other hand, of course, if things go well, then great. I'd be all for it. But man, he's such a good coordinator. And, as long as Kansas City has their core coaching wise with Andy Reid, Bieniemy, Spagnuolo at the defense, and of course, Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Look, it's not far-fetched to say that they are at the beginning of a New England Patriots type run. Okay. And it sounds crazy because, in the NFL, it's tough to make the Super Bowl. It is extremely tough. They might not, who's to say they're not going to make it for the next 10, 20 years? We don't know. Detroit and Cleveland have never sniffed a Super Bowl. And that's telling you how hard it is because those franchises are 100 years old. I might be exaggerating, but you get my what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And so, Patrick Mahomes is 27 years old.
Jeez.
Right.
Dang.
But remember Dan Marino. In his rookie year, he made the Super Bowl with the Miami Dolphins.
Uh-huh.
They played the San Francisco 49ers and they lost in the Super Bowl 38-16. Marino was, he had a rough game.
Okay.
But he was a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody was like, oh man, how many times is he going to be there? How many times is he going to make the Super Bowl? How many times is he going to win it? Blah, blah, blah. Well, folks, as most of us know, Dan Marino never played in another Super Bowl. And it has nothing to do with his talent because he was a Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen, period. So, so there's no guarantees. It's tough. But then you look at Patrick Mahomes. He's played 5 seasons. He's been in the AFC Championship. Starting. I'm talking starting because his first year he played 1 game. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so we don't, you can't count that. But in the 5 seasons that he's been in command, he's been to 5 AFC championships, 3 Super Bowls, and won 2 of them. Mm-hmm. Now, the people are already saying that, he's in the Hall of Fame and blah, blah, blah. Well, that's hard to argue. I'm not going to argue that.
No, not at all.
I'm definitely not going to say that. I'm not going to say it's too early to give him that. It ain't, because from what his body of work is, he's on his way. And more than likely, he will be a Hall of Famer. Now, Ryan Clark said, I don't know if you heard this, that he's right now in the top 3 of the best ever. Let's put on the brakes on that.
Yeah, I don't. And I'm not knocking it. I just don't like disrespecting greats. And I'm not saying it's disrespectful, but when you're jumping him over there's a group of quarterbacks who have won Super Bowls and have put together a whole body of work and resume
Right.
over their whole career. You can't really explain to me how somebody who's only whatever 6, 7, I don't know how many years he's been in the league, can say that he's already jumped somebody who's had a full body of work.
Right.
Now, once he gets a little bit older, I mean, yes, we can come back and have this conversation. And I'm not mad. I can understand why you're saying it.
Yes.
Especially in the moment. I get it.
Yeah, there you go. I like that. Yes, in the moment.
Yeah.
There we go.
So it's easier said than done. But when you go back and do your homework and some of those guys that you're trying to put him over and you go and look at his resume and, their body of work, it's hard to just throw Pat Mahomes there. Now, with what Pat Mahomes has done in such a young career so
he's
far,
on his way to
yes, definitely. Is he a little further ahead than where those quarterbacks were at this
Yeah.
time? Probably.
Yep.
But I'm not going to say right now.
Yeah, you're going to put him in front of John Elway?
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to do that.
I mean, come on,
Put it
man.
in front of
Peyton
Joe
Manning
Montana,
right
Peyton
now.
Manning. I'm not going to do
You're not going to do that.
But even going back to the Eric Bieniemy, if I'm him, and I kind of treat this like, what's his name? Kenny Atkinson over at Golden State Warriors, when he was about to take that head coaching job at the Charlotte Hornets, I believe, and he rescinded. Sometimes, and I know it's not always, it can't always be about the money, because sometimes, just like you said, you're going to put yourself in a bad predicament where you're only a head coach for 2 or 3 years and then you're fired, instead of you going and being that offensive coordinator or that head assistant at a championship winning caliber team. You're going to be treated as such. Are you maybe not going to get paid like a head coach? Probably not. But your job security is there. You're playing for championships. You're competing every year. I would like to say that's much better than being in a lower tier franchise when you only got 2 or 3 years and you could possibly be out. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with being a high paid offensive coordinator.
No.
In fact, he should be the highest paid, and I mean by a wide margin. I don't mean like he should get like $10 million a year. No, if he's at that level, he needs to be getting whatever coaches. I mean, he should be getting 25, 30, 35 million per year as an offensive coordinator because he's that good and he's that far ahead of the other 32.
And he's proven it. He's won.
Right. So times. if he's the number one guy, then the number two guy should be far off from him, and then so on and so forth back down the line. And
I think Eric Bieniemy understands of not just taking any head coaching job.
Yeah, I don't want him to do that.
Yeah,
I'm glad he has not. I didn't want DeMarco Ryans to take the Texans job.
Yeah.
But
it's a tough one.
I get it. I mean,
it's sometimes, it's just hard, passing up, I want to be a head coach.
And plus he does have history there because he was there before. So it's not like he's new to the organization. So I get that. But I'm glad that Bieniemy didn't ever have to go there. And, I think Carolina would have been okay. But I'm fine with him not getting that job. So, I think that Bieniemy should just sit back and say, hey, I'm doing my thing right now. I got 2 rings,
elite quarterback.
What am I worried about?
Best quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
You're running that offense behind him. So.
Exactly. So just keep it moving, man. Keep going.
Would you say, I know we're only a day removed, but just with everything set how it is today, would the Chiefs be considered the early favorite for running it back and winning another Super Bowl?
Yeah, they got to.
Okay.
I mean, of course. We keep hearing about Buffalo over and over and
I'm
over.
Almost tired.
But Buffalo can't get past Kansas City.
I'm almost about ready to get off that train.
Yeah, because Cincinnati has. They've been successful against Kansas City, but however, this season they couldn't do it.
Nope.
And like I said before, it's hard to get to the promised land.
Yeah.
It is not easy. I mean, because if you get close one year, there's no guarantee the next year you're going to get as close. Ask Buffalo. They didn't make it to the championship game. Nope. Cincinnati did again.
Yep.
So then now next year, Cincinnati is going to have a little bit of pressure because they're going to be the hunted.
Yep.
Yeah. A couple of years you're the hunter. Okay, but once you're the hunted, it's a whole different ball game.
Yep.
So, we'll see. And Philly is going to find that out too. They got to keep stuff copacetic as possible because now they're the hunted.
Luckily for them, they're in the what is that? The NFC. What is it? The NFC East.
NFC East, yeah. But they had a good year though.
I know. Yeah.
Everybody except Washington made the playoffs, and so you can't really kill them this year.
Nah, I know. It's fucking a little fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Super Bowl is wrapped up. The NFL season is all wrapped up tight in a nice little bow. So the next big thing now would be the NFL draft. And that's, of course, that's what the most of the off-season conversation is going to be until draft day. And of course, the NFL has 3 days of drafting. So, if you don't get drafted on the first day, some of those second day picks are pretty good. Mm-hmm. And as you know, we've had a third day last pick of the draft make it to the playoffs, take his team to the playoffs and to the championship NFC game. Mm-hmm. So, man, that's pretty amazing. So this draft here is going to be probably as exciting as there was one.
Especially if you're a Seahawks fan.
Oh, listen, they cannot, and I can't stress this enough, folks. They cannot trade down from that number 5 unless they get an impact veteran in return. Okay. And in the position they need.
Okay.
And plus that team's draft pick, and hopefully it's not past the 10th. Mm. I wouldn't drop out of the top 10 for nobody. Mm. Not even Aaron Donald right now because he's hurt. True. But I would get an impact player and drop down a few spots, but that's it.
See, now this is how I looked at the Seahawks season this year. I feel like fans got a win-win situation.
Oh, they sure did.
Not only did they make the playoffs, maybe they weren't necessarily a contender for the Super Bowl, but to be able to get postseason play in any sport on any professional level was great.
And plus, look, people forget they gave San Francisco in that first half. Yeah. Excuse me, in that first half, problem.
Yeah, they did.
So we know what the potential is.
Yes.
San Francisco, a much better team.
Yes.
They got all pros at every doggone level of their defense and offense.
Yep.
So for the fact that Seahawks gave them pissed them off, really. They had to get pissed off for them to do what they did in the second half.
Yep.
In order to beat the Seahawks. So let's give the Hawks some love there on that. And the question, of course, will be, will they sign Geno? I think they will. I think they will sign Geno, and I think they should.
Do you think it will matter? Well, I think you said that 5 pick, they're going to go defense. I think you did say that.
They must. Okay. That's a must. They got to get somebody like Jalen Carter or Miles from Clemson, or if Will Anderson somehow slips down. For sure.
If somebody who they have been looking at quarterback is available
at 5
or with that second first round pick,
get him
and still bring Geno back.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I'm hoping that number 20 pick, I think it's 20. I think I would love for them to get a linebacker, the best linebacker, or maybe the best center.
Okay.
Because they definitely have needs greater than quarterback.
Yes, I agree with you 100% on that. I don't want Seahawks fans to get struck with needing a quarterback.
No,
you had an all-pro quarterback this year. So,
right.
Yeah, I agree with you.
You don't need it, and plus, you just need your quarterback not to turn the ball over and get it to the playmakers like DK, Tyler, and I'm hoping they get another playmaker. Because listen, folks, everybody says, we need a number 3 wide receiver. Mm-hmm. No, we need a number 2 wide receiver. We already have a number 3 wide receiver. Tyler could be that guy because he's the guy that can get you those first down marker catches. And of course, he can also go down the field every now and then, but what you need is a second guy like a T. Higgins, that You got DK
possession
on one
market,
side, you got a guy like T. Higgins on the other side, and then you got Tyler in the slot. What you gonna do?
Yeah.
You're gonna be worrying.
Yep.
Look, we got more to come. When we come back, we're gonna get into the NBA. Last week was super crazy. And so O is gonna take care of the NBA, get you all caught up on the trades and who and what's what. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
I'm Paul Pearson, host of Star Time, and when I'm not deep frying a turducken in a closed garage, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio World.
Do you have an idea for a community project in your neighborhood? You could be eligible for up to $50,000 in funding through the City of Seattle's Neighborhood Matching Fund. Grants are awarded to grassroots projects that build stronger communities, with an emphasis on projects led by impacting Black, Indigenous, and people of color BIPOC communities. To learn more about the Neighborhood Matching Fund or to see if your project meets the criteria, visit seattle.gov/neighborhoods/NMF.
What's going on, world? It's your boy OG Mambo.
And your guy D Money. Join us along with Pint Size Patron and ID Yourself
Here on Fresh Juice at Rainier Avenue Radio.
every Wednesday hump day from 9 to 11 Pacific.
Get exclusive interviews from your favorite artists, all the hottest music, and updates on what we got going on in the world.
That's every Wednesday, 9 to 11 p.m. on Seattle's Rainier Avenue Radio.
On Rainier Avenue Radio.world, look for the Change Your Food, Change Your Life show. I'm Dennis Weaver, your good food guide and host, helping you to feel good and look good, and who wouldn't want some of that? All that and more from the Change Your Food, Change Your Life show on Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Stories, songs, and guests. Begin living the organic good food life, and the rest of your life just may be the best of your life. Always up, baby, to your help.
Wash your hands, don't touch your face, wipe things down, clean up your space. When you cough and sneeze, do responsibly. If you feel you're getting ill, isolate at home and chill. No, you're not alone. Please pick up your phone and call 206-477-3977. King County 206-477-3977. Public Health 206-477-3977. King County 206-477-3977. Public Health Community Radio Station will provide you with more information. Say Rainier Avenue Radio. Your community radio station will provide you with more information. Rainier Avenue Radio.
You are listening to Rainier Avenue Radio,
your community radio station.
Welcome back to LidLine Sports. Hey, listen, high school basketball fans, the Rainier Avenue Radio will be broadcasting on Saturday the boys and girls district championships at Bellevue College. So if you can't make it out to Bellevue College, you can listen right here on Rainier Avenue Radio.world. The boys and girls district championships, starting for the boys at 6:30 p.m. and the girls will close it out at 8 p.m. Thank you for sticking with us with Pep and O. Oh, we were talking about the Super Bowl, the first half of the show. We dedicated that to the whole thing, whole first half. No, and so now I want to get into some NBA. Man, oh man, they had some stuff going on last week.
Yeah, I don't know. For the people, I don't know if you're you're watching or all the people that's listening, you guys know I am a big Phoenix Suns fan. So let's just get it started right there.
Okay. What's going on with Phoenix?
The trade deadline, man. So just a little funny story. It's like 9:00 at night. I just got done like arguing with like a family member about I don't know about some sports stuff, right? And we got off the phone. I'm about ready to go to sleep. It's like 10:00 at night. I'm ready to go to sleep. But I knew the trade line was coming up, so I turned like my Twitter notifications on for all like the sports insiders and all that. And my phone just buzzes twice from sports Twitter notifications. And I was like, I know that's a trade. It has to be a trade because, it's two coming in. And I just saw the breaking. I read the Phoenix Suns, and I just kept looking. I stopped at Kevin Durant, and I just like yelled so loud.
Did you?
I did.
Nice.
I yelled so loud, man. For the Phoenix Suns, for you guys, if you don't know, the Phoenix Suns were able to trade for Kevin Durant from the Brooklyn Nets. They gave up some good pieces, though. They gave up Mikal Bridges. They gave up.
They call him Brooklyn Bridges now.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they call him Brooklyn
Well,
Bridges.
I didn't know for that being my team. I never knew that like fans or like that team. They called Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges the twins. I never knew that.
Oh, okay.
But I know that they're really close, like off and on the court. So I guess the only, a little bittersweet was to see that they, get to still play together, but just in another jersey.
Well, I liked what Bridges said. He says, well, looking at everything, I would have made the trade too.
Yeah, he did say that. Yeah. And, just understanding the magnitude of the player that you were traded for, Mikal Bridges said, I get it. Like I said, that group, that team, the Phoenix Suns, they were so close with each other, especially Mikal is a fan favorite. So is Cam Johnson.
Well, you know what I'm happy about, right?
What's that?
Spencer Dinwiddie.
Yeah.
You know I like that guy.
It's his team.
That's
So,
my guy.
So even before we even get into, how the Suns are going to look, I thought Brooklyn got a really good deal out of this. They got 4 first-round draft picks. Mikal Bridges before these last 2 weeks was playing at an all-star level without Devin Booker. He's showing that, he can possibly turn it into an all-star caliber player on the offensive side of the court. So to get him, in my opinion, Cam Johnson, one of the best set shooters in this game today, but to pair him with a young Spencer Dinwiddie. Nicholas Claxton was playing really well. They had
and Joe Harris has been hot.
Harris, yeah. They have really good defensive pieces. So now you don't have to really do what you did a few years back before you got KD and Kyrie. You don't have to just rebuild all the way over.
Right.
You now have pieces you can bring in people to come play with these guys.
Yes.
I really like the trade for Brooklyn. Now we all know Kyrie Irving was traded a couple days before that to the Dallas Mavericks. And that just set off a timetable for Kevin Durant. We all know he made a trade or asked for a trade in the offseason. So this time, though, it was different, though. This time it was quiet. I think he felt because the Phoenix Suns was his first and I think his only destination, he didn't want to make this public because he didn't want 10, 15 other teams calling to ask about him. I think he wanted, and I shout out to the Brooklyn Nets for also giving Kevin Durant what he wanted, which was to get to Phoenix, trying to make this trade work with the Phoenix Suns at first. And it was able to work. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry. So the fact that they gave Kevin what he wanted, but not Kyrie what he wanted.
I was just about to get there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. I don't think the Brooklyn Nets, for the most part, have been shy about making it known that they put a lot of the blame on why this never worked was on Kyrie Irving. They're not shy about that. They made that known by not wanting to really give him a contract extension until let's see what the rest of the season goes. And you're talking about a guy this year, for the most part, quietly, besides, a couple of the anti-Semitic remarks or whatever. Besides that, though, he's averaging 27 on the court. He's an all-star starter. So on the court, he's done his job. But off the court, it's been so much of a headache. I even forgot, Pep, that he took a leave of absence 2 years ago. I forgot all about that. So, Kyrie can say all that he wants about the Brooklyn Nets franchise, about them supporting him as a person.
Mhm.
He also has to look at himself in the mirror about him as a professional and, what it means by just showing up to work. I understand you're a professional NBA basketball player, but you are still working for a company and you are still, you're still, not, what's the word I'm looking for here? You're still an employee at the end of the
There you
day.
go. Yep.
And, I don't think
A well-paid employee.
a well-paid
at that.
employee, who got paid to not play a lot of games.
Right.
So, as much as Kyrie Irving is one of my favorite players to watch, I hope he does, especially going into this offseason as him being a free agent. He takes, and even before that, going to help Luka in Dallas first compete, not get yourself into any situations off the court so you can stay available. Because we all know that Kyrie Irving is one of the most skilled players to touch a basketball when he's on the court.
Right.
He's doing so far. He's doing pretty well in Dallas. I think today was the first day that second day, I think, that Luka and Kyrie played together. I am happy that, Kyrie, he wasn't working. He got out. He's in another decent position over at Dallas. So we're going to see how that works as well.
And plus, them not wanting to trade him to the Lakers. Excuse me, but what players do the Lakers have that Brooklyn would want?
Yeah. So even going back to Kyrie wanting, he's made it known that he wants to get to LA. Yes, you just made the point. There is nothing enticing enough for the LA Lakers can give anybody for a star player in trade. Like, I have a friend who kept trying to say, well, Russell Westbrook is an expiring contract. And what else? Like, what else am I giving up a star player just for an expiring contract?
Right.
You only have 2 first-round draft picks. You're only offering 1. Every other young player that you have on your team, for the most part, is a dud. And you don't even want to give up the young players who aren't. Austin Reeves, you didn't want to give up. Max Christie, you're not giving up. So how do you expect to get a star player to come play with Anthony Davis and LeBron James?
Right.
You just don't have the assets to do it.
Thank you.
So I totally agree with you. I don't think, even if the Nets did want to work with LA in getting him there, I just think it would ultimately came down that you're not giving me enough. I can go get more from other teams, which they did.
Yes.
The Lakers don't have a Spencer Dinwiddie type of player to give.
Sure don't.
Unless they're giving up AD or LeBron. So
yeah. No, they weren't doing
that. So people who say, well, Brooklyn just didn't want to work with what Kyrie did. Yeah, that's part. But the other part is LA doesn't have anything to work with for Brooklyn either. So it goes both ways.
So I think Brooklyn did well in both trades.
Yeah.
As well as they could anyway.
Yeah.
Especially with Phoenix. So I was happy to see that. So I hate to see Kyrie and KD go, because I've said it lots of times that Kyrie's probably my favorite player to watch.
Yeah, I agree
when I'm
with
watching an NBA game. I just love the way he strokes it. I love his moves, his demeanor.
He's a natural.
It's just so awesome, man. He's just cool. Like Walt Frazier cool, and and that's just what I like. That's just me. So, but off the court, man, I don't want to deal with that nonsense.
Pep, would you say that this was probably one of the most disappointing stretches you've seen from a franchise that have like this many star players play for your team? You only win 1 playoff series? Okay.
Absolutely.
And I know you've seen a lot of basketball. So okay.
Thank you. Yes. The old Sixers comes to mind as another disappointment, but that's way back. We don't need to talk about that. But so man, but I'm excited for this coming playoffs.
Oh yeah.
I watched
I
actually watched a NBA game Sunday when I watched Memphis and Boston.
Good game.
Even with Boston having Jaylen Brown out and Marcus Smart out, man, they got a squad.
Yeah.
And right now in the East, I don't see anybody that's going to beat them.
Milwaukee?
I don't think Milwaukee's going to beat them.
Okay.
And
that's fair. I would say that they are the team to beat. Boston is the team to beat in the East. No question about that at all.
Yeah, I think so. I don't trust Philly at all.
Mhm.
I mean, I'll give James Harden his flowers because he's balling.
Yeah.
Right now.
The 76ers look really good
They're
right
balling. They traded Thibault to Portland.
You know who they got back?
Yeah, they got back
Jalen
McDaniels.
Out of Federal Way High School, San
Yeah,
Diego
from
State.
Charlotte.
Very good pickup.
From Charlotte. That is a good
Very
pickup.
good pickup.
Because he's good offensively, defensively, and he can get rebounds.
Yep.
So, and then Thibault was great on defense, but he didn't give you anything on the offensive end.
Yes. And, you know, I think he's in a much...
Portland needs defense.
Yes, they do. They're not a good defensive team.
So
This
there
is,
you go.
I don't know why it's taking them so long to find, like, big wings. Big, like, 3-and-D wings. I don't know when's the last time they've had one. Well, now they have Jeremy Grant.
Yes.
Before that, though, I mean, you have that multiple 3-and-D wings, though, in today's NBA. You know, I was listening that, you know, the Kevin Durant trade effect, they were saying that now a lot of teams did, you know, alter kind of what they wanted to do for trades. And they, especially Western Conference teams, they felt like they had to go get wings to guard guys like Kevin Durant, Paul George, and Kawhi Leonard now in the Western Conference. So that was a really good pickup for the Philadelphia 76ers. So now on the Western Conference side, yes, the Phoenix Suns got Kevin Durant. They got to keep Chris Paul.
Oh, here's one thing I'm going to say.
Didn't
mean to interrupt, but
no, you're good.
You know, everybody got super excited, you know, showing pictures of Durant, Booker, Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton together. How many games are they actually going to play together? Because Booker's frequently hurt.
Yeah.
We know Chris Paul come playoff time is going to have something. KD, you know, is
he's still out right now.
He's still out. So, you know, before you start throwing championship banners around, how many games are they going to be able to play together and be cohesive?
No, thanks for bringing that up. I was just about to, you know, get into that. You know, everybody can say on paper, you know, that the Phoenix Suns are the team to beat. But even me, I can be honest and look at how even our season has been so far. And, you know, with the addition of a hurt Kevin Durant, not healthy, with Devin Booker just coming back in the lineup, with Chris Paul just coming back in the lineup, who's to say how many games that these guys can get under their belt to get some type of cohesiveness to even go into the playoffs? Yes, off of talent alone, regardless how many games they play, can they win a series or two? Yeah, but when you get to play those teams like the Clippers and the Warriors and the Nuggets, there has to be some cohesiveness because you're dealing with teams that have all played together. Now, you're bringing in one thing I will say about Kevin Durant is he's a plug-and-play player. He can play in any system. Doesn't matter how many times he's been on the court with these guys. You put him in, he's going to be ready to go. But my issue is going to be, how are these other guys going to be able to bounce off that?
Yes.
How is DeAndre Ayton, who's now has been getting a lot of shots, how is he going to feel now going back to being the third option? Devin Booker still has to get his feet under him, and now he has to play a whole season with him.
And plus, now they've depleted a lot of their bench.
Good point.
So, you know, they're going to have to have guys step up.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean,
yes. The bench was already even depleted before the trade. So, they brought in TJ Warren. It sounds like Terrence Ross had.
Oh, you know what? Of all the guys I hated to lose him. Man.
Really?
I like TJ Warren for the Nets.
And I think he was starting to get his feet under him. Too.
Yeah, but you know, oh well.
So yeah, you got the Phoenix Suns roster wise. Yeah, maybe they're the team to beat. But you got teams like the Denver Nuggets.
Well, Denver's been playing great all season. They're
really
like
great.
20 games over 500. The Clippers and the Warriors have been mediocre.
Clippers have been playing pretty solid as of late. I get you.
Late.
So what about, how do you feel about the moves they made? So they went and got Eric Gordon, and then Bone Tylen from the Denver Nuggets. So how do you feel about implementing those guys in with what they already have?
Yeah, well, might as well, because they weren't playing John Wall a whole lot.
And I think he's been hurt too.
As usual.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing. You know, so that's no big deal. But, you know, Eric Gordon, he has been hurt during his tenure with the Rockets, but he's been playing well. And anytime he gets into the ball game and gets steady, good minutes, he's going to get you buckets.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a good move for them.
And then you see, and then when we can get into it, I thought, even though, you know, people looked at it for the Lakers side, but, you know, there was a 3-team trade at the deadline. D'Angelo Russell will shift off to the Lakers. Who else? Jared Vanderbilt from the Utah Jazz, along as Malik Beasley, went off to the Lakers. Russell Westbrook went to the Utah Jazz. And
that's going to be a buyout. I think they might have bought him out today.
Oh, did they?
Well, they were working on it.
So it looks like where they're at right now is Danny Ainge has been very transparent with Russ Westbrook about we don't mind you staying here, but we are looking to develop our youth. We can't really guarantee you your role, how many minutes you're going to play a game.
Mm-hmm.
So we can go from there. Or yes, the option is buy you out, or you can just stay in LA for the rest of the season. So yes, I think those are just 3 options right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree with you. I think they're going to lean toward, because Russ Westbrook is a competitor. I think he does want to still play for a playoff team. So I think they will get bought out. But I really liked Mike Conley going to the Timberwolves.
Man.
I know he's another guy
Love
who
that
is
guy.
in and out the lineup, but I think watching the Timberwolves last year and what Pat Beverly brought to them
is probably what Rudy Gobert needed.
Yes. I just think this whole team.
I think they did that for Rudy.
Yes, and I think this whole team in general just needed like that veteran leadership. I think they're just missing that. I think that they've been so far. I mean, as of lately, kind of been winning games off of pure talent because Anthony Edwards is becoming an all-star caliber player. But that veteran leadership in that locker room and on the floor is going to be so big. And just like you said, Mike Conley's played with Rudy Gobert before. Now he has somebody who can find him lobs. There wasn't really nobody on the team who was doing that for him.
And that's the thing. D'Angelo's not that guy.
No,
he's a
Anthony
scorer.
Edwards isn't. No.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. So, and the thing, and what surprised me during the trade deadline too, when I heard Minnesota, I was like, oh, Jalen's probably gone now. Jalen Noel. He's still there.
I thought he was. And it sounded like he did everything behind closed doors to try to get traded, because you remember the rumor that he said he's not going to sign if he becomes a free agent. So it sounded like him and probably his agent did everything possible.
But the next 2 games after the trade deadline, he had 30 and 21.
Yeah,
and still only playing half of the game.
Yeah, which is crazy.
This guy needs minutes, man.
Yeah,
seriously.
I don't know. Maybe I hope that they do find him more minutes.
And then Zach LaVine didn't get traded.
No, there's rumors that he was going to get traded at the deadline. But it sounds like Chicago's going to try to make another push at this. They're currently right outside the play-in. Mm-hmm. So Russell Westbrook, that Chicago Bulls is an option for him there. So LA Lakers. He got back 3 players. This was the talk of the team when it came to the trade deadline of them being aggressive and they were going to make moves. Kyrie was a possibility. All these other players were been a possibility all season. Mm-hmm. But then they get back D'Angelo Russell, which I do like. I think he's a much better fit next to LeBron James than Russell Westbrook is, because he can spread the floor. Mm-hmm. But I really did like Jared Vanderbilt. That is a player, I want it for the Suns as well. He's a guy who can guard multiple positions. He does all the dirty work around the rim, and he just plays really hard.
Well, I also like who they got before the
Rui. Yes. And these are young wings too. They're not older wings; they're young wings. You guys can get up and down with LeBron James and AD. Mm-hmm. And now you got D'Lo, who is another guy who can get you clutch buckets. He can spread the floor, can create his own shot for him. My only thing is, D'Angelo Russell don't play no defense. You're still, and
Schroeder,
I think
still stuck with Schroeder.
Still stuck with Schroeder. You didn't really, and D'Angelo Russell is not a pure point guard.
No, not by any stretch.
And this is now a team. They're in 13th place.
Yes.
Is this enough to propel you to the
play-in? Another thing that's killing me is so they're in 13th place, but they're still doing load management stuff.
Yeah, LeBron's missed now his 3rd game today. With the foot injury. I don't know how serious it is.
It must be legit. Look, we know he went all out to get that record Wednesday, right?
Which I was so surprised about. Like, in my head watching, I'm like, why does it have to be today? You play on TNT 2 nights from now against Milwaukee, where Kareem was at. I thought that would have been more memorable. I don't know why it had to push for Tuesday, because now you're right. You might have put your season in jeopardy, because we don't know how serious this injury is with LeBron James. Mm-hmm. He's out now.
Yep. And then, of course, AD is one stair step trip for another 3 weeks out. Reggie Miller's had a nice comment saying that, anytime he grimaces, it's 3 weeks, and he's not wrong.
Yeah. No, if you're a Lakers fan, every time AD falls or even something, you hold your breath.
Please don't do any home projects. Don't do none of
just
that.
Just sit in the room that's surrounded by saran
But I'll
wrap.
tell you what I saw from him Sunday. He could not get it going offensively. So what was he do? He went all defense, and rebounds, and so he blocked shots,
and that's why he's special.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not kicking it on the offensive end, then you got to do other things. And that's what keeps you on the court. Now, look, he's a superstar. I ain't talking about him. I'm talking about guys that like get 15 to 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you want 25 to 30 minutes, then you're going to have to up your game as far as what you're not good at.
Yes.
Like if you can score, yeah, we know you can score, but that ain't going to keep you on the court because your defense sucks.
Yep.
So, you got to do things like that. Let's quickly get into the All-Star. When's All-Star? I think it's this Sunday.
Yeah,
right?
this weekend. All-Star weekend's this weekend.
Yep. And so there's a big omission. Darren Fox. What do you think?
So he's in.
I thought
he's an All-Star replacement.
He got in replacement, but forget that. I'm talking about he wasn't.
Yes.
Officially.
I think we're just at that point now with there's just so many good players in the NBA. There's always going to be somebody left off. But I agree with you. I don't think it should have been him. You're talking about a franchise who has made one of the biggest turnarounds with the best players, second, whatever you want to go, best player, second best player between him and Sabonis. He should have been an All-Star. I agree with you. Now, who should have been left off? I don't know. Like I said, it's
who's the Western Conference right now? Do you have that lineup?
I don't.
Okay.
Off the top of my head, but like I said, I think the people who were
and I know Halliburton was glad to get in.
Yes.
He gave it to Wally Serbiak, because Serbiak said that he wasn't, All-Star.
Oh, really? Okay. Wow.
So when he made the All-Star team, he put Wally's profile picture on his.
So if I were to pick who De'Aaron should have made it over, my choice would be Paul George.
Yes,
somebody who missed a lot of games. So if AD's not going to be in because he missed a lot of games, if Devin Booker's not going to be in because he missed a lot of games,
Paul George.
So why should Paul George be in? Because he's missed a lot of games too. That's definitely a name that I think he should have been over. And I had this talk about Zion is another name. I don't understand how he got in. And
this guy, look,
news about him. He re-aggravated injury. He's out for another 3 weeks, possibly.
We love his game, and we know who he is and what he brings. But come on, man, can you play more than 20 games a year?
He should have not been a starter.
And me and Carter was talking about this yesterday or day before, whatever, saying that look, these guys is 21, 22, 23, 24 years old. And they can't stay on the court.
I don't understand.
Man, when I was that age, you couldn't keep me off the court.
Yeah,
I wasn't making that money, but you know what I mean.
Now I don't understand how he aggravates injury. He hasn't been playing.
Was he running for the buffet?
I don't know. And it's easy.
Well, look, they do work out, right?
Yes.
So they do work out with the team. They work out in the gym. So he's probably in the gym playing a little pickup, one-on-one or something like that. And tweaked it.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm just so confused, and I'm just really concerned for him because, like I said, I don't want to be right about Zion, but I don't know how long his career is going to be, and it sucks because he's such a young, talented, transcendent
it's like
player.
Greg Oden, man.
Exactly.
Man, I hated to see what was going on with him, but man, that was just terrible. Because people think, when you say Greg Oden, people call him all kind of names but the guy was talented.
Yeah, and he played well when he was on the court.
He was a number 1 draft pick for a reason. It was like between him and KD. Now, what if Seattle was the number 1 and Portland wasn't? I bet you.
Man.
I bet you they would have took Greg Oden.
Yeah.
KD fell into their lap.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't want to make that decision.
And that's why you don't use the word. You don't use the word bust when it comes to Greg Oden.
No,
that's not the word. It's injuries that hampered him. It wasn't talent.
No.
So.
No, like Anthony Bennett, he was a first overall pick. It was talent.
Kwame Brown,
he
guys
was terrible.
Like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, All-Star game is going to be on Sunday. It's going to be the same format as last year. The only difference is this time is they're not picking the teams until the day of.
Oh.
So they'll do a little special before warm-ups and kind of like pickup style.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Yeah, they'll pick it up.
I'm digging that.
I'll get my ranking started back up after All-Star break.
Sure.
Everything has been just such a flurry.
Oh, man.
Especially last month with this trade deadline and all that. So, but we know, just like we said, Denver's at the top of the West, Boston's at the top of the East, and they would for dang sure probably be 1 and 2 of my top 5, my power ranking. So
yeah, cool, man. Yeah, so man, today was great, man. It's good to see you, man.
Always, you too, man.
Man, But I'm so proud of you, man. You coached you helped coach the Cleveland Eagles to
Appreciate it.
Make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what was your record this year?
We were 9-11.
Okay.
We only won one Metro League game last year, though.
Yeah. See, that's the
thing.
Yeah. So now you're on the rise.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So, all right. So we're out of time, and boy, it was a pleasure. And looking forward to next week. And I want to thank everybody for listening to us again. We got
to give a quick good luck to G.
Oh man, my bad. Granville Emerson and the Seattle Prep Panthers. Man, much success. Who they play? Do you know who they play?
I do not remember who they play.
I know Carter probably knows.
Okay.
But anyway, man. So good luck. Keep going strong. Thank you for listening. Holla.
Oh, there you go. Like sock.